Every teaching is a concept, and concepts are neither right or wrong, true or false. A concept is simply to be examined through your personal experience, and then if the concept brings you peace, it becomes your living reality. Now, I will read words from Ramesh Balsekar's book, Confusion No More, which are on the back cover. And these are very interesting words. So I will just read them. It says, conditioned as they are by hundreds of years of confusion, spiritual seekers have come to have the idea that the self-realized sage is a kind of Superman, a perfect, quote unquote, perfect human being, totally in control of his mind and body, totally disciplined, whom everybody looks up to for advice and guidance in all situations in life, and who will protect his disciples from all difficulties in life. And he finally says, this is a total misconception. A sage, according to me, is a concept. There is no such thing as a perfect sage, a perfect human being. The idea of perfection is of the ego mind. The mind which is restless from within seeks outside help, outside support. And in that, what it does is it perceives another mind-body organism superior to itself and projects the attribute of God. God which is its own creation, God which is just an imagination, onto that mind-body organism. And now the tricky, sneaky ego can behave as an infant. So just like a parent, when a child misbehaves, child does not want to take responsibility. So child throws a tantrum and then assumes that the parent will take care of all the troubles. And this is what disciples do to their gurus. Disciples behave like infants and then create mess, ruckus, nuisance, and then leave it to the guru to clear the mess. And somehow the guru also benefits from this relationships which is in two directions. So guru sustains the disciples and disciples sustain the guru. The guru gets to play authority figure. What Ramesh says here is that it is a total misconception that a sage is a perfect human being. Perfection is just an idea in our minds. A perfect human being is not the one who is following society's rule. A perfect sage is not the one who is following society's rules. In fact, you will see sages actually not following society's rules and conventions. They are not a nuisance to anybody, but at the same time, they do not conform, they do not subjugate themselves to other people's ideas, and sometimes they are perceived as outcasts. Sometimes they are even handled or mishandled, I would say, with violent reactions. This has happened across centuries, across ages. If you look what has disciple done to their gurus, first they attributed God onto the guru and put the guru on the pedestal. And when the guru could not meet their expectations, they were quick to push the guru from the pedestal. So all of a sudden, Pujya Swamiji, who was very revered by the disciples, becomes a rogue. But who started it in the first place? Isn't it the ego mind that came up with this idea that I am seeking perfection in life? I am seeking something or someone who can just free me of my sins, who can just tell me to have a bath in the Ganga, in the holy waters of Ganga, and all my sins will be washed away. But then what the ego mind does is that it goes to the Ganga, it washes its filth in the Ganga, and then continues to act like an infant, continues to behave unruly in the world. So there is no such thing as a perfect guru or an imperfect disciple. If we don't understand this relationship, we are completely confused about the concept of a sage. A sage is one that is aware about his or her conditioning. It is not that they have overcome their conditioning. It is not that they have conquered their anger or their anxiety, or that they are okay with everything. Even the sages have their reactions. They have their choices in life. They have their preferences in life. They are not perfect human beings. The nature of being a human, is imperfection. The imperfection is embedded in the design, and we cannot help it. If we try to overcome the imperfection, we are on a continuous journey that is never ending. We will be told by psychologists, by therapists, by spiritual gurus, by philosophers, and by many other great leaders that we have to improve ourselves, we have to make ourselves better. But what do we compare ourselves with? We compare ourselves with an image that we have created in our mind. That means I say to myself as a disciple, first I create this hierarchy, that I am the disciple and I have a guru. And then I create an image in my mind of the guru, not understanding that that is not what the guru is like. In real life, guru may have the same problems as the disciple has. But as a disciple, as this identification that I am the disciple, I am the seeker, and I am trying to find solution for my problems, I need an authority figure to tell me what to do. So I assess using my own mind who is the best authority figure. And then I'm very quick to label him as my master, teacher, guru. Or I call him a sage. Him or her, a sage. And then what happens? Then I try to be like them. If you see the absurdity of this whole movement, you realize that it is a joke. Because that image does not exist. So you are chasing an illusion. If you think that by being in a certain way, let's say by changing your diet, by changing your thinking, by reading certain scriptures, or by behaving in a different way with people, you're going to convince them, then that's just your ego, which is trying to craft the perfect image to hide itself. And the existence of ego is pain. It is suffering. So the whole process is not of a becoming or unbecoming. It's not about clearing out your traumas. It's the basic fundamental question is this: who is this me? Who is this entity that is claiming to be imperfect, that is claiming to be traumatized, that is claiming to be in trouble, to be suffering. Who is this entity? We never get to that question. Those of us who are destined and can come to that question know very well that there are no answers. So I will read another short paragraph from Ramesh where he says, the conditioning happens all the time, and the new conditioning may alter the old conditioning, new concepts deleting old concepts. As Ramana Maharshi said, that it is only that is the only purpose of a concept, to be used as a thorn to remove another thorn embedded in your foot, and then you throw both thorns away. So it is important to understand that your idea of a guru or a sage, or you trying to be a perfect human being, is a concept. Once you get rid of this thorn, examine what remains. Let's say if magically all your memory is wiped out and you lose all forms of identifications, your name, your form, your relationships, let's say everything is just wiped out, what would remain? Something would remain. Examine that. That is what you are. That is what your real nature is. That is what you are in deep sleep. But the problem with us is that, especially with human beings, because human beings are gifted with, as Ramesh would say, the dubious gift of intellect. We take so much pride in this intellect. And it is a wonderful tool. For the world, it is a wonderful tool. If you have to build a bridge, you need the intellect. And it is also helpful in other cases. But at the same time, this very intellect can be the cause of our greatest suffering. It can be the roadblock to our hearts. It can be the wall between the mind and the heart. Once that defense, that wall comes down, the mind and heart unite. And it is only the heart. So living with conceptualization, living only in concepts, will not eliminate suffering. To go beyond the concept, use this concept that there is no me, and then throw this concept away too. Throw the concept that there is a perfect sage, a perfect guru, a perfect master, a perfect teacher out there who's going to solve your problems, who's going to free you from your sins. You are not the doer, you never committed any sin. You were simply the instrument through which actions happened. And those actions were governed by programming which was determined by the cosmic law. I can call it God's will too, but some people may not like the word God's will, so I can also call it cosmic law. That is what Ramesh used to do too. It is the universe's law. You did not choose your parents, you did not choose your relatives, you did not choose which country you were born in, you did not choose your DNA, you did not choose anything. It was all given to you. The forces that you are subject to in your life, the traumas that you have undergone, happened to you. You did not choose any of that. So everything shaped you to what you are today. This is what the reality is. You are perfect the way you are today. There is nothing that needs to change. But the moment you start comparing and living with this image of perfection, this image of a sage or a perfect human being, you invite suffering. you invite misery. At least in that sense, people who do not follow any spiritual teachings are better off, because at least they compare themselves to Instagram pictures or to their neighbors or to their friends, which does not last very long. But the problem with spiritual seekers is that they form an image of them which resembles the image of their master or the sage. And these are both images, and they want this image to conform. They want these images to become one, which is not going to happen. This image of being a perfect human being is an extension of the me mind. It is all me. And once this is understood, it just simply drops away. So the thorn of knowledge ultimately is discarded. That's what Ramana Maharishi said. The thorn of ignorance can be removed by the thorn of knowledge. But then the thorn of knowledge is also a thorn. The thorn of conceptualization is painful, and it has to be dropped away. When the final thorn of knowledge is dropped, it is then that one experiences the peace of beingness. Beingness that is available here as this.